Hello, I'm Mo Speaks. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, share. How you doing, Miss Just J? Today I want to talk about something. So we hear the phrase or the term Antifa and kind of gloss past it, and I'm not sure everyone even knows who they are, what they do. So that's what today's live stream is going to be about. Title of today's live is Antifa Terrorism, Funding, Law Enforcement Ties, and Democrat City Destruction. So I want to talk about them. And the reason is there's a lot of these no kings protests that are happening right now. And all that means is they're calling Donald Trump a king for deporting illegal aliens. So why is this important to us? This is important to us because as a Black community, you're being replaced. It's very, very, very out in the open. And for some reason, we're starting to join these protests. Now, this is not our cause. It's never been our cause. It actually is harming us as a community. Education, healthcare, jobs, in every aspect of like neighborhoods, your neighborhoods. This is where they go. They don't go in straight directly into white neighborhoods. They go into our neighborhoods. They go into our communities, and that's where they settle and eventually move us out. Depending on where you are, where you're from, you've seen this happen already. It's not a new thing, but this is what the Democrats need. It's not what they want, it's what they need. We have to be replaced because we've been waking up over the last decade or so. And it is increasing. We're leaving the Democrat Party, the Democrat plantation. So they need somebody else to rely on them to give them something to run on. So without further ado, let's get started on my presentation.
Yeah, please. An appeals court recently ruled that you can send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. Do you feel unfettered to send the National Guard into whatever city you want now?
Well, I guess so. That was the decision that I can send the National Guard if I see problems. I looked at Portland over the weekend. The place is burning down, just burning down. We weren't there. We didn't spend much time there because we were waiting for that decision. But the court, maybe that influenced the court. But you look at a place like Portland, it's ridiculous when they say that there's no problem. The place was on fire over the weekend. But we won the case in Court of Appeals. I think it was the Ninth Circuit, so that's pretty good. And a very strong opinion that we have the right to use the National Guard. You would think that would be common sense. We have the right to use the National Guard to put out trouble. Well, that's how I got elected.
And this was up for debate. I didn't know. I had no idea how this was going to go, but I didn't remember. I forgot that other times in this country's history, the National Guard was used by the federal government to go into states. And one of them was when segregation was ended and the president at the time, I believe it was Eisenhower, sent the National Guard in to I think it was elementary or either high school. And he sent I don't want to get it wrong, but they sent a lot of National Guardsmen to go to this school so that they had to segregate because the white people at the time did not want it, and they were getting violent and they were threatening. So the president at the time sent the National Guard into a state because the state couldn't handle the issue or didn't want to handle the issue. Whatever the issue was, they didn't want to handle it. So when it started desegregation, the National Guard was used. Another time it was used by New York, more recently, to go into the subways because there was a lot of crime in the subways. Now that's a little bit different because that was the actual state doing it. But there is precedent for the federal government to send in the National Guard when something's going on like what we have now. And what we have now is a gazillion illegal aliens in our country. It is an invasion, no matter what they say, because when a large group of individuals from another country come into yours without permission and against your laws, that is an invasion. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And Donald Trump has done an amazing job getting the criminals out of this country. And for some reason, I was in Chicago this past weekend and I saw black people holding these signs, walking around with these signs. This is not our fight. This is not our fight. But anyway, so they're on the outskirts of Chicago, protecting ICE and their facilities. They are still in DC, and now Trump is talking about going into two new places, which would be San Francisco and Portland. And right here, they're talking about Portland.
The reasons I got elected. Yes.
Oh, I guess I could have just stayed on here. So what is Antifa? Let's pull this up real quick. And this isn't the best description, but it's let's see, Antifa. Just a search, a generic search that I did. We don't need add to the stage. Why aren't you adding to the stage? Before president, remove other media. Oh, I didn't know I had to do that. That's interesting. All right, that's new. So Antifa, or anti-fascist action, which is a joke, is not a single centralized organization, but a loose, decentralized movement of militant left-wing activists. Its adherents typically oppose far-right racist and fascist ideologies using direct action that sometimes includes violence. Recently, the movement has been the focus of political debate and action, particularly under the Trump administration. I don't agree with that full characterization because anytime you see a protest and it breaks out into violence recently, since the BLM protests, riots, whatever you want to call them, the violence begun with Antifa. The FBI has characterized Antifa as an ideology rather than an organized group, and it has no official national leadership. Not sure about that. They are organizing these things somehow, somewhere, whether it be in Reddit threads or WhatsApp, however they're doing it, they are definitely doing it because they're showing up, they're paid, and that's what I believe Donald Trump has to get to the bottom of. They need to study these people. They need to investigate and figure out exactly who is sending who where. Because every time there's a protest, the same people are showing up, and I'm gonna show you guys that it's interesting. It's wild to see because you have people getting arrested all over the country, and it's the same people, and they just keep getting bailed out or just let out. Why? This is really, 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 really important. And again, the DOJ needs to figure this out and put a stop to it because it's insanity. We can't have this in a free country. The movement consists of autonomous local cells in cities across the United States and other countries. Diverse beliefs. Okay. People who identify as Antifa come in a wide range of left-leaning beliefs, including anarchism, socialism, and anti-capitalism. Well, anarchism and socialism is anti-capitalism, but okay. Their tactics can range from online activism, such as doxing perceived enemies, to physical confrontations at protests. Adherents often wear black clothing, masks to conceal their identities. So that's who Antifa is in a nutshell. Donald Trump did designate them. He did designate them as a terrorist organization, rightfully, because again, when we saw the country burning back in 2021, around then, 2020, 2021, it was them. It was them. So what they do is they leech onto something that's happening at the time. They intermingle with the protesters, and then they take it over, and then they start violence. They start burning stuff. They start trying to create anarchy, and that's just what they do. It's what they've done since their inception, and it's who they are. This is some of those people. So again, Black people. I need you guys to look at what we're looking at here. These are the people who've been arrested over the last, since 2016. This is them. You have no reason, you have no dog in this fight. Whether they're using Black Lives Matter or not, it's not about that. Because we saw they come straight to your neighborhood. They come to destroy your neighborhood when this happens. You know why? They want to get you upset so that you riot. And now you're joining in on all this stuff. there's a little just Jay, but it's not our fight. This is a trans activist, anarchist, communist / socialist movement. That's what this is. This has nothing to do with you. Black man, Black woman, stay away from this. It has nothing to do with you. Right now, they are fighting to keep criminal, illegal aliens in this country. It's what they do. It's what they need. They cannot have police. Here's some more. They cannot have police. There's one. Got suckered into it. They cannot have peace. They cannot have law enforcement actually able to do their job. That's why they push defunding the police. That's why they attack police. They hate law enforcement. They want anarchy. What is anarchy? It is chaos. It is people who claim that they're for justice doing whatever they want to whomever they want. Every time there's an autonomous zone, it's Antifa reigning free to do whatever they want. You'll see the R word happening there. You'll see SA happening there. You'll see people getting unalived. They run those things. That's what this organization is. They need capitalism to fail because they don't love America. They hate America. They think that they have a plan in either all-out chaos or socialism, which would create what you think pricing is bad now. It would create all-out chaos. I got gas earlier. You know how much I paid? $2.22. That's how much I paid in gas. Actually, hold on. Let's take a picture of it. If you don't believe me. The left will tell you how horrible everything is, but they won't show you. Oh, no. It was $2.14. $2.14. That's how much I paid in gas today. Never came close to that in the Biden administration. Anyway, just the only reason I bring that up is to talk about how much better this country is doing. But they keep lying about inflation. They keep lying about the oil prices. They keep lying about consumer prices because this is what they need. Remember when they told you guys everything was going to blow up with the tariffs? Not going to happen. Here's some more of them. This is not our fight. This is not our fight. That guy up top, oh, you can't see my cursor. The guy up top with the pink and blue hair, he was in another one of the pictures from another riot. Oh, sorry, protests. Peaceful protests. Mostly peaceful protests. That's what this is. That's what we're looking at. There's one. Oh, man. 1.5. They're two lighter than me, so that's that. Both of them count as one. There's one over here on the right. Again, this is not our fight. Stay out of it. Let these people do what they're doing. There's this guy, the one up here in the upper. I don't know if it's upper right on your screen. I think it's upper right. That guy is going to be in another picture with a thick beard from another riot that he got arrested in. And law enforcement is really, really, really. They need to look into this because law enforcement seems to be cooperating. Remember in BLM when just random pallets of bricks would show up? Where'd they come from, and why weren't they gotten rid of as soon as people saw them? Look like they do food stamp. Yeah, they do food stamp fraud. They do all of it. They do unalivings. They do assaults. They do robberies, theft. They do everything. They're paid disruptors. And people, they didn't want to say that they were as part of the January 6th thing because most of them weren't. But they had 26 federal agents, not federal agents, sorry, federal assets, whatever that means. These people, they show up to peaceful places and create chaos. That's what they need. They have to have it. This is 2023. Again, not our fight. It's not our fight. I want to know who keeps bailing them out and why people keep letting them out, why the judges keep letting these people out. Now, this is more recent. These next few are going to be from the No Kings protests, peaceful protests, mostly peaceful protests. Just a few fires, few cars on fire. Just a little bit of fireworks being shot at the police. Not a big deal. Peaceful, mostly. Let's see. There you go. Oh, man. Another 1.5. We got to do better, people. We got to do better. There should be none of us on these. There should be none of us on these. This is ridiculous. Let's see. Again, these are all recent. This is Austin the other day. 13 arrested in Austin. That guy up top, all the way that way, he was in one of the protests from Portland. They're paying these people. They're bussing them in. This is what they do. They need this. And the more they can get police to step aside and not do anything, or either just deplete the police forces, the better it is for them. And this is all it is. They are all paid 100%. How you doing? What's going on, young lady? They are all paid. They're all paid. And this Just Jay, I was gonna put one of your messages up, but you're in the other chat. I'm doing something. I'm trying to see. I did this before, but I'm running a vertical live and then the regular StreamYard live right now. So that's why I haven't put any of your comments up. These are paid disruptors, and in this presentation, you're going to hear Trump say, "What's going on, Dantana?" You're going to hear Trump ask for information. He wants to know who's funding these people, because that's where, I mean, you have, this is not First Amendment. You have people who are paying other people to destroy property, to steal, and to riot, essentially. And we cannot have this in this country. We just cannot have this. Absolutely. Both Soros and his son. Look at this again. All these ones with the blue are more recent. Got one in there again. Got to stay out of this. Black people, stay out of this. It's only going to get you in trouble. You're not going to be able to, in the end, this is going to end just like Black Lives Matter did. Only worse, because now they're considered a terror organization. They're charging people under this new decree that Trump made. Hopefully that sticks. Hopefully it doesn't get overthrown. But you don't want to be part of this. You don't want to be charged as a terrorist. That's just, man, I'm telling you, it's this is a scary thing. And the longer Black people, oh, thank you so much, Miss Justice, or Miss Beautiful. I'm sorry. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. When you have ghost organizations paying protesters to show up places and paying them to disrupt, we need to know who they are, because when these guys commit and women commit all these crimes, they're bailing them out also. They're the ones who put those pallets, those random pallets of bricks throughout all the cities that were having the George Floyd riots throughout the country. It's funded. How is the real question, and why, and who's doing it? Because if there are Soros people behind this, we need to know. I don't understand why this guy's allowed to manipulate politics the way he does, but he is. So, well, I'd like to know. This guy here is a teacher, the guy in the red. He's at Illinois State University, and this is the behavior of the people who are teaching your children, or who will be teaching your children, or who taught your children. And this is why they act the way they act, because they're being taught this stuff.
Jesus did it, so you know I got to do it, right? Jesus did it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. What are you throwing out here?
That's depressing.
Throw this sucker
Dang, how did this get covered? That's so sad.
Look at him.
Oh! Oh!
That's a teacher. Now this guy is a professor out of right. And I want you to listen to what he says. Because this is, I don't understand how this isn't a threat, a direct threat. And I believe he's been fired now, maybe arrested, because what you're about to hear him say does not fall under the guidelines, not the YouTube guidelines, but the U.S. guidelines of First Amendment, because this is insanity. Insanity. Listen to this guy. He's a professor at a college in Illinois.
Have a gun. We got to turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents got to get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out.
So he's calling for shooting ICE agents. And I did a full live on professions where you probably shouldn't be celebrating death, like what happened to Charlie Kirk. You probably shouldn't be doing stuff like this. Anything that involves taking care of a person or even an animal, a pet, you probably shouldn't be celebrating death. I believe he was, beautiful one, I believe he was. But anything celebrating death, not good. Not good. Because when you're doing stuff like this, it shows that within your professions, like we saw a medical student, I keep bringing her up because it's so sad. Young black lady, young black girl, well, woman, went through high school, college, or undergrad, medical school, and heading into the medical field, and she got caught celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Lost everything. What's going on, True? Lost everything. Like, as a parent, I see her and I'm like, I cannot believe she did that just to be popular with whatever the trend that was where they're celebrating somebody's death. How can you be trusted in the medical field when you don't value life? And she lost everything. She's never going to get hired in the medical field. It's not going to happen. Because what you do online stays. It's insanity. It's sad. And this is why I keep stressing we got to stay out of this. Stay out of this. Don't celebrate death online. Don't riot when it's not our cause. Even when it is our cause, don't riot. Nothing good's going to come out of it. You're not going to get the results you think you're going to get. You're most likely going to ruin your career if you have one, or if you plan on having one like that young lady. It's not worth it.
Directly confronting the sinister threat of left-wing domestic terrorism and violence, including the terrorist group Antifa. You saw that yesterday. We had a news conference. Antifa's out of control in Portland and other places, but mostly Portland in the case of Antifa. And we had people that were really badly affected by them. It was terrible. So one of those things, but we're knocking the hell out of them. And we're looking for the people that are funding them, and those people are going to be just as guilty as the people that smack people over the head with a baseball bat. But thank you very much. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa, and including one assault that left him with a brain hemorrhage.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the cabinet. I have a lot of gratitude and a little bit about my background. I'm born in Portland, Oregon, from there. And growing up, it's always been left-wing, very progressive, and I liked it. It had cafes and artists and those who lived a bohemian lifestyle. And in 2016, I was a graduate student at Portland State studying political science. I was an editor at the student paper there, a very progressive paper, and I was assigned to cover the election night demonstrations. Well, the elections night protests turned to riots, 3 days of violent rioting in Portland, and it was the first time that I saw groups dressed in black with their faces covered. This was 4 years before COVID. Some of them were waving the black flag of anarchism, some the red flag of Marxism. And within seconds, they would ravage one street to another, to another, to another. And the next day, I would read the legacy media, which I still read at that time and looked forward to, and I looked up to those journalists. And I was really shocked to see that the narrative was that these, in my view, anti-democratic political violence was legitimate acts of protest because people were concerned about racism or all these other lies. And so for the next 4 years, I just continued going out with my video camera. I thought, look, people can ignore what I write because of spin, but videos can quite speak for themselves. And
they don't go out and destroy everywhere. They go to your neighborhood. So when you see destruction going on in the nicer areas, that's us. They convince black people to do that. While they rile up everyone in our neighborhood, they destroy our neighborhoods. They set stuff on fire in our neighborhoods. And then they get you to go rob the expensive places. The Rolex watch place downtown Chicago on Michigan Avenue, right in broad daylight. They got you to do that. Why? Oh, you got to do something about these Nazis. Trump is a racist. He's a king. I just saw today on X, a bunch of these people are leaving the United States because they say Trump is a king, and they're going to the UK where they literally have a king. These people don't think their positions all the way through. They don't. They don't. But what they are is excellent at manipulation, playing on your heartstrings or pulling on your heartstrings. Playing on your emotions. This is what they do. And you think you're going to get let out like they do? You're not paid to do it. You're going to be sitting in jail. You're going to be sitting next to them. Somebody's going to come in and get them out. And you're going to be sitting there. This doesn't help you in any way. Fighting for criminal, illegal, alien drug dealers and SAs and pedos, PDFs, all that stuff, it has nothing to do with us. We have our own problems. Deal with those. Talk about those. But what you should not be doing is fighting for illegal aliens. That's insanity. You're literally fighting for your replacement.
In 2019, it led to me nearly losing my life. I was covering another Antifa protest turned riot. At that point, had been routine in Portland, and then I was ambushed in a mob beating. And I had never been in a fight. I didn't even realize that I was being assaulted until seconds in. And the punches came from everywhere on my head and my face, and I was bleeding out of my eyes and ears. And then they threw all the drinks in my eyes to humiliate me further. And
that kid who got beat up, who worked for Doge for a little bit, white kid got beat up. I believe it was in D.C. That's what really sparked Trump going in there. Federal judge decided nothing to see here and let those guys go. They're on video. They have the full incident happening of that kid getting beaten, and they let the perpetrators go. So the good thing is Trump looked at it and said, no, we're not doing this. And they're charging them. It's insanity. Somebody is paying for this to happen. There are clearly enemies within. And it looks like in every organization, including the judicial. Like this, there's no way a judge can look at and see the beating happen and say, let them go. Literally released them or tried to. Janine Pirro stepped in and said, no, we're not doing this. They need to look at the judicial system. They need to look at term limits. And they need to figure out what is really going on. Because at every single level, there are criminals getting away with stuff that just to the naked eye, it makes no sense.
To laugh at me. And I was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and CT scan, and I had subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is bleeding the brain. I nearly died. And after surviving that, the reporting that I saw in liberal media it seemed to suggest that I had deserved it because they branded me far right. And some even went so far as to suggest that I maybe faked my injuries. A BuzzFeed reporter asked for my medical records, which I did provide. But this felt so, it's like because I didn't die in that attack, there was another round of people who wanted to finish me off. But I continued, and then 2020, Portland was really the epicenter of the longest political violence. Those months of riots, I was on the ground, undercover, and there was an assassination there. There was a supporter of Donald Trump named Aaron Danielson who was shot dead by a self-described ANTIFA member who then fled out of state and died in a shootout with US Marshals. In 2021, I returned undercover, naively thinking that enough time had passed, and was chased through the streets of downtown and beaten, nearly choked out.
Somebody is also warning them on who to look for. So when he said I naively thought that it had died down, no, they're passing on information on all the right-wing reporters who show up at these things, and they're attacking them. There's a hit list. You want to know how I know? I'm going to show it on this presentation. They literally created a hit list. So he's on there. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. It'll come back to me. But there's about 8 or 9 journalists who are on there, and they're getting attacked. How you doing, Ms. Baker?
The person who was trying to choke me out held me so tightly that I had the blood, the vessels in my eyes burst. So one of the symptoms were my eyes were completely red after that, and I was hospitalized. So thank you so much for acknowledging Antifa and for directing your administration to treat them as domestic terrorists. It's going to be really challenging because how they organize is that they are decentralized, autonomous, and they operate on deception. And we're still to this day told that they don't exist, that it's a figment of our imagination.
Joe Biden, in a debate, and I believe also in his State of the Union address, said that Antifa is not a thing. It's an idea. It's not a thing. It's not a real organization. It's nothing. Nothing to see here.
I think the DOJ could look at federal conspiracy charges. The state of California and San Diego County last year broke up an Antifa cell in San Diego. And I think maybe perhaps the State Department should designate Antifa, its international arm, as a foreign terrorist organization, FTO. So thank you so much for this invitation, Mr. President.
Thank you.
There was a group called the Proud Boys. The leader was the Afro-Cuban, a black man. And they called that group white supremacists. And they locked all of them up. And they locked up the leader, who was the black dude, the black white supremacist. And he wasn't even at January 6th. They said he made plans or something. And they locked him up. Enrique, I can't remember his last name. Toro, whatever his last name is. But the reason that group was important, that they had to get rid of them, is because they would go to these protests / riots, and they would protect people on the right side of the argument. And they would literally beat down Antifa members. So somehow, instead of designating both of them as being needed to be taken off the streets, they only chose one side and labeled them racist and labeled them terrorists and locked them all up so that Antifa can keep going to all these events and roam free to do whatever they want to whomever they want. But the Proud Boys were proud to be Americans, and they were going to stop them. They showed up everywhere they showed up. Everywhere Antifa was, they showed up, and they would start fighting them. It's not good. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is, why did only they get designated as something, whatever you want to call it? Gang, terrorist group. They only did one side, and they let these other people go around and keep doing what they're doing. You notice they complain about ICE wearing masks, but every Antifa member wears masks. They only care about the good guy. You got to stop. You have to stop. We need these people to do whatever they want to do.
Very much, Andy. Great. That's a rough time you had, huh? So the chokeout was almost the end, you felt?
Yeah, that was my
Crazy.
only near-death experience in my life, and I'm quite shaken when I think about it now. It really feels unbelievable to me that on the streets of America that this type of violence against citizens could become so routine and accepted and cheered on by people. Although, in the immediate aftermath of Mr. Kirk's assassination, we saw again that type of depravity play out on quite large swaths of the left.
Yep.
So there's a deep sickness that's in this country right now, and it pains me a lot to acknowledge it.
Yeah, the amazing thing is you look at Portland, and you see fires all over the place. You see fights and, just violence. It's just so crazy. And then you talk to the governor, and she acts like everything is totally normal. There's nothing wrong. It's almost like, are you waking up from a dream or something?
The Government Accountability Institute, my colleague and I, Peter Schweitzer and our team, we followed the money, and we followed it to the top of what we call the protest industrial complex, Riot Inc., and we found a network of NGOs. It's not just the Soros network, the Open Society network, it's other funding networks, the Arabella funding network, the Tides funding network, Neville Roy Singham and his network, Foreign Cash, and it's also big left-wing funders. Some of them are not citizens of this country. Mr. Hans-Jörg Wyss of Switzerland. They're pouring money into this entire ecosystem. And so I want to share 3 money facts with you about what we call Riot Inc.
Before he does that, the GAI, this is what they do. They try to follow, they follow the money. And he just listed several NGOs. What's crazy about these NGOs is a lot of them were getting money from USAID. Remember when I did that whole live on them, USAID? And how they would just give money to all these NGOs. Some of the ones he listed were getting paid by the United States government. Your tax dollars are going towards these people who are then giving money to Antifa to destroy your country, destroy black neighborhoods, specifically. When Trump came up with the opportunity zones, and he had all these large corporations pledge to move into our neighborhoods, what did Antifa do? They went straight to those neighborhoods. And what did those corporations do? They left. So not only did the new ones not come in, but Walmarts, Targets, and CVS's and Walgreens left. Can't have success. This is not our fight. Stay out of this stuff. It is not our fight. They don't like you. They need to replace you. You're a traitor to them. You will see white liberals calling black people traitors to their race. And instead of people getting mad, like, what? What did he just say? Black people will agree with them and turn on another black man.
Number one, like any corporation, Riot Inc. has many divisions. It doesn't just have the Antifa boots on the ground division. It has PR divisions. It has marketing divisions. It has a very well-funded legal division to get these boots on the ground back on the streets as quickly as possible.
Yep.
But it does have those investors that I mentioned. Number two, we have identified dozens of radical organizations, not just the decentralized Antifa organizations, but dozens of radical organizations that have received more than $100 million from the Riot Inc. investors. These would be the lawyer groups. These would be the groups that advocate for calling good, honest Americans fascists, et cetera. And then 3, I think the most shocking thing is that we have found that more than $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funding has flowed into these funding networks, including...
And that's what I'm talking about. When I did that live on USAID, some of the places he listed were on there. $100 million in taxpayer dollars. A lot of it, black taxpayer dollars, go into destroying the black community. In the name of what? What's going on, Lou?
At least $4 million to these very groups themselves, not just Antifa types, but there was an event in Atlanta called Stop Cop City. Over 60 rioters were charged with domestic terrorism. These groups received money for that from both the billionaire class as well as taxpayer money. So one other thing, this money helps fund the decentralized crowdfunding platforms. These are ways that Antifa, the John Brown Gun Club of Elm Fork, which had links to that attack on the ICE facility, the Socialist Rifle Association, and just because they don't have LLCs or EIN numbers doesn't mean they can't get paid. Some of these funding platforms, crowdfunding platforms, are funded by this network that we call Riot Inc. So
when you see somebody get arrested and you see this random, what's going on, not worth it. You see this random crowdfunding, like not, they don't really use, I don't think they allow them to use GoFundMe like they were before. But when you see them raising money, it's coming from taxpayer dollars. It's unbelievable. You're paying to get out the criminals who are trying to destroy your city and trying to get rid of police.
Again, I want to thank you for your leadership, for the whole cabinet's leadership on this. We're going to keep following the money and appreciate everything you're doing, sir.
Do you know the name of any of the funders? Do you know the names? Because if you do, I'd
Well,
like
they
you
know
to
the
give them
names.
to Cash or Pam
Absolutely.
or
we can-
Christy
Yeah, we'll do that.
as soon as you can. That's all of you, because you probably know the names after a certain period of time. You tend to find out.
And that's what started these investigations. And that needed to happen. All this just happened yesterday. That press conference happened yesterday. It is so important to follow that money. So this is some of the work Andy Ngo's done. This is one of his ex posts. I almost want to say tweets. But he's saying what he does is he does this. He breaks news, what's happening. He mostly handles Portland, but he's all over Antifa. He knows all of them. He knows where they are. He knows everything about them. Violent convicted felon Oregon Antifa member, and he gives his name, his age, is among the first 2 Antifa militants to be federally charged for allegedly violating or violently rioting outside ICE building. Incredibly important that they start doing this, because this is the only way to decentivize this. Because you just heard that guy talk about all the NGOs; those are non-government organizations, but they get funding from the government, and a lot of them are lawyers. So they're the ones who run right in and get these people out. They're the ones who represent these people. They cannot be allowed to roam our streets. They don't want there to be streets. On June 14th, after the No Kings protests, this guy was allegedly part of a mob that rioted. He uses the alias Zero in Antifa. He's been charged with assault of a federal officer. Good. But a federal judge released him without bail. So every time they catch these people, they get let go. That's what they do. Somehow, magically. He's been long featured in writings published on the It's Going Down Violent Extremist Antifa blog, spent years in prison for multiple violent felonies, and was recently released only to return to political violence immediately. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. But the good thing is, Janine Pirro is going right back after these people. This is another post that he made about a female. I believe it's a female. I don't know. Yeah. A Portland far-left woman has been federally charged with felony assault after striking a federal agent at the ICE facility on a No Kings protest day. Whatever. I don't even know what that is. Elizabeth Leslie was quickly released without bail. This is how the lawyers swoop right in, get them out. That's what they do. This is how they're always busting, cause chaos. If they do get arrested, all those mugshots that I showed earlier, they get arrested, but they immediately get let out if they get arrested. On her social media, she expressed leftist woke views and hatred of J.K. Rowling. So this is her protesting her movies. Here's another post about these twins. Jeremy and Jason Hammond, violent Antifa twins who spent years in prison for hacking a brutal mob beating at a restaurant, respectively, are revealed to be leading Antifa in Chicago. They just move wherever they're needed. I don't know how they can afford to do this. Oh, yeah, they get paid. That's how they do. What's going on, Mel Dub? Their father is a convicted child SAer. And this is the 2 at a riot. And he retweeted. This is the one I was talking about earlier. Antifa has created a hit list of journalists, live streamers, and conservative activists who are posted on flyers outside the Portland ICE facility. They're not just posted there; they're posted at every No Kings event, riot, protest, whatever you want to call it, so that the people there know who to look for So if I showed up there, if I was on the list, I'm not on the list. If I was on the list and I showed up, they would recognize me from these posters that they hand out. Flyers urge their protester comrades to be on the lookout for individuals mentioned. Those featured on the flyers include journalists who attended Antifa roundtable at the White House, such as myself. And this is Katie Davis Court. I don't know who she is. And then she names other people. Nick Sorter, that's the other one. He does the national coverage on Antifa. So then she goes and lists several of the people who are on their hit list. And she gives more. And this is what it looks like. And those are all over. At every No Kings protest, they have these. So if they see the people, they can jump them, they can harass them, they can do whatever they're going to do. And they do this really interesting thing with umbrellas. You'll see them with umbrellas. It's like, why do they have that? 2 reasons. They can block projectiles. So when they're getting shot at with the rubber bullets, they can block those. And the other one is, and I've seen this happen several times, if somebody's recording, they'll block it and then they'll assault you behind the umbrella so that the cameras don't see it. That's what they do. I'm going to keep saying, Black people, this is not our fight. Leave it alone, because you're going to be the only one who doesn't get out of jail, because these people are paid to do this. They're bussed in to do this. And the first terrorism charges, oh, this is so good. First terrorism charges were brought against an alleged Antifa members in a Texas ICE attack. And this is who they are. It's not us. Stay away from these people. Stay away. Let them do their thing. I'm not bailing anyone out here. Nope, stay away. It's got nothing to do with us. And this is what they're fighting for. Trump's Homeland Security arrests more than 480,000 illegals in 9 months. 7 out of 10 are criminally convicted or charged. 7 out of 10 out of the almost 500,000 who've been arrested. Almost all deported or extradited back to where they're supposed to be. Get out. But if you see those kinds of numbers, why is anyone trying to stop this? Why is anyone trying to stop this? This is a good thing. Almost 500,000 violent criminals get deported and arrested. And we have people saying, no, they need to stay here. Why? We need them. That's why.
So you just came from Portland. How would you assess it? What's it like?
It doesn't feel like America, Tucker, at this point. It feels like, and I know it's a cliche, but it feels like a third world country. I mean, you have police that have been totally infiltrated by a leftist militant group. And, right now you can see police cars behind me. These police cars would protect me if somebody were to come up and assault me. That's not how it works in Portland. The Portland police arrested me instead when I got assaulted. It's a different world out there. and not even just around the ICE facility. Like your monologue was spot on here, Tucker. But you go downtown, and it looks like it's post-apocalyptic almost. The graffiti everywhere, the vandalism, the boarded up windows. There are no people in downtown Portland. It's quiet as hell. There's nobody walking around. People don't go there for leisure anymore or for vacation. It's because they're afraid, and they should be afraid. The chance of you getting beat up or stuck with a needle or robbed in the street is through the roof because police there aren't actually allowed to be police.
So what happened to you, if you don't mind explaining? You were arrested for being assaulted? Is that a crime? Is it a crime in Portland to be assaulted?
It's a crime in Portland to be a conservative, Tucker. I mean, as weird as that sounds, the video evidence, and even the DA has come out and said, because the DA refused to go through with the case, so they ended up dismissing all of the charges. The video very clearly shows me telling the person to back away as I'm walking down the sidewalk, and then the Antifa thugs, this stuff is coordinated, right? They come up with an umbrella to try to block other cameras, and as soon as when they do that, they're gonna commit some sort of act of violence, and that's exactly what they did this time. One of their thugs decided to swing on me and hit me in the face before breaking my camera and then throwing me in a hole. Was that person arrested? Absolutely not. Was I? We know the story now.
What did they charge you with?
Well, they charged me with disorderly conduct too, which is really weird considering the amount of screaming and vandalism and assaults on officers and explosions of fireworks and such that happen in the middle of the night in the streets out there. They break into cars. If you're not a member of Antifa and you try to drive down that street, they're going to hit your car. They're going to break your windows. There's plenty of videos of that happening, and none of that is apparently disorderly. They call what I did disorderly because it's what I'm doing is a threat to the order in their city, which is basically leftist authoritarianism. So
you got your face in the way of an Antifa fist, and so you're the criminal. Did the cop apologize as he was arresting you? Like what? I mean, it's hard even to imagine the scene you're describing.
Yeah, and so I actually went to this group of police. There are about 12 of them. They're way down the road. They don't do anything ever. Obviously, that situation changed a little bit as time went on. But I went over there to seek refuge with them. To hopefully, I wasn't even reporting anybody. I was just standing back, hoping that the situation would ease up a little bit. And I'm standing there joking with a bunch of them for 7 to 8 minutes or so. And then a sergeant rolls up on a bike and says, "Cuff him." And that's exactly. And they're like, "That guy? This guy right here, cuff him?" And he's like, "Yeah, cuff him. He's under arrest." And they had no idea why. They couldn't explain to me for over 45 minutes, Tucker, what my charges actually were. They started driving to the jail very slowly, hoping that somebody would fill them in on why I was actually being arrested. And so
we need police to start standing up to this. Obviously, you can't tell them to break command or break the law, but come out and speak on something like this. Hey, Nick Sorter wasn't doing anything. He was actually the victim. They need to come forward and say something. Otherwise, they're just following orders. And obviously that's their job. But when the orders are wrong and they're wrong and you see somebody get physically beaten and then they come, I don't understand why they would go along with it. In this case, it's black and white. You know what happened. You know it's wrong to arrest this man, but you're doing it anyway. These officers have to say something. They need to come forward because this is wrong.
So they had to pull over on the side of the road near the jail and just sort of twiddle their thumbs, waiting on a call from a lieutenant. And as soon as they got that call from the lieutenant, that lieutenant instructed the officer to get out of the vehicle, presumably so I couldn't hear what they were talking about on the phone. Something stinks over there. I mean, there were 3 people all night long in Portland that came through that jail. It's the only jail in Portland, and 3 people, including myself, ended up coming through there that night. It's wild.
And there were riots underway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that same night, my car was vandalized. There were fires in the street. They do that every single night. And nobody is ever arrested for that.
It's so far from the America that you imagine when you think of America. I mean, this is kind of my point. So, for example, like a place, Palm Beach or Miami or Jacksonville, even Tampa, big cities in Florida, that's the opposite of what would happen. And so you wonder, how can Portland, Oregon share a flag with Miami, Florida?
Yeah, it's a great question, and as you very well said, this stuff doesn't happen in Florida. It never does. People aren't going to block the roads in Florida,
right?
Because what happens? You're going to get run over because these people will take residents that live right near the ICE facility and box their cars in with people. They'll surround them and terrorize them. But there's nothing that the driver can do about it. If they defend themselves, they go to jail. If they try to drive through the crowd to save their family from these thugs, these violent, mentally ill thugs, they are the ones that get arrested, not the thugs that held them hostage.
So what does that tell you? It tells you that if the rioters don't get arrested, but anyone who resists the rioters get arrested, that tells you that the rioters are in effect working for the state. They're the militia then, right? I mean, what else would that tell you? They're on the same side as the state.
Essentially. Yeah, of course. And then people ask me all the time. It's like, okay, well, are these what are these Antifa folks' thoughts on the Portland police? And there's no ill will between the two groups at all because they're practically working together at this point. Yeah, just the other day there was a business owner or a manager of a restaurant that's at the end of the street where the ICE facility is on. There's only one street to get to that business. And he walks up and begging and pleading with the officers there to open the road, not because the police had closed the road, but because the Portland police had relegated traffic control duties to these Antifa militants that were not letting through employees of the restaurant or patrons of the restaurant, only letting through their own people, and Portland police were letting it happen. Portland police ended up, I have it all on video, I posted it all on my X. Portland police walk up to these militants that are controlling traffic and say, hey, we need you to open up the road. Would you mind opening the road so that people can get to the spaghetti factory? And they said no. And so the road just never opened and police just walked away. I mean, that's how deep this rot runs. Like, who is giving these officers orders to stand down and defer to Antifa?
Why are we allowing that?
So this guy is about to explain. He's supposedly a police officer. Anyway, he's about to explain why they allow the people to stay in the streets and block off roads and stop you from going to work.
To block the streets.
Yes.
So it's a delicate balance of people's First Amendment rights and then, like, you know, allowing cars to move through. This is not like a one-way situation. Like, there are other ways to get people from McAdam off and on McAdam. So as of right now, we're not going to enact anything to, like, prevent people from being in the roadway while they're.
So one group of people's First Amendment rights trump your rights to drive down public streets because you can just turn around and go a different route. That's what he just said. Now, you could be late for work. Whatever. We don't care. Because these people, it's not freedom of speech to walk in a street and block and stop civilization. But this is the Portland mindset. And he's dead serious. They can turn around, they can go somewhere, they can go another way. Well, what if you work on that street? Then what? Then what? Like the restaurant owner. Well, then you're screwed. Because these people have a right to stand in the street. No, you don't. You absolutely don't.
Practicing their First Amendment right. We are asking them to not be in the street if they can. That may change, but as of right now, they're allowed to take up the street space because they're practicing their First Amendment right to protest. We don't want to infringe on that right when there's not a major issue of cars coming to hit them.
You're supposed to get a temporary license to do these things so that if they know the street's going to be blocked off, they can actually put up horses and barricade it. What he's saying is, if you get in the street and you say you're a protester, you have a right to be there. That's not how it works anywhere. Even in Portland, that's not how it works. But they're allowing it. It is against the law, and you're going to hear him say it, but they're allowing it. This has nothing to do with the First Amendment. Nothing.
This is not a major roadway right here. And people can get around them.
It's not a major street.
Okay.
And they're also having their own workers to help guide traffic out of the way.
Okay. In the past, I know, like in the 2020 riots, people were being arrested, or maybe it was riots before that, but I know in the past there were, like, I think maybe after Trump was elected in 2016, I attended some events that were going on, like in the downtown area, and it was a very hard line about if you step off of the sidewalk, you will be arrested. So has the policy changed, or?
I don't know. So again, it's not like people couldn't get arrested for being in the street. We're just not going to arrest people for being in the street right now. If we're ever going to do that, we will make an announcement. Hey, we are going to make arrests for people who are in the street. Anyone that wants to leave the street can leave the street, and they won't be arrested. This is not an issue. This is not a major roadway for us, right? There are ways for people to get around. There are corkers that the protesters are providing to move traffic. So that's alleviating a lot of that issue.
Is that?
So there are people that the protesters are using to direct traffic. That's exactly what Nick's order was saying. They're providing them. They're helping us. They're directing traffic. No, they're letting the people that they want in, and they're turning other people away. And apparently you have no right to go down that street. It's not a legal it's not a legal protest. If it was legal, they would have all the barricades there. They would have them along the curb so people could not go in the streets. Instead, what's the big deal? It's not a big street. And they're helping us direct traffic.
A decision that the mayor is making, or
I think we're making this on a day-by-day, minute-by-minute basis.
who's making the decision?
Our CMIC, so our commander of this incident right now.
Who is that?
Listen to this.
I don't know who that is by name.
You don't know your commander? How do you not know your boss? How is it so shady that nobody knows who the real person is, who's calling the shots? Remember in Chicago when that ICE vehicle, I think it was the SUV, was attacked. Nobody knew who told them nobody knew who told the police not to respond because they were ready to respond. Police chief was mad. Ooh, he was mad. And he's a leftist, but even he was like, this is not right. We can't do this. I put up a short on some of the stuff he said. He was mad because he knows if his police officers were in trouble, he would need somebody to help and intervene. And if ICE were there, they would. So they left these guys there to die. But nobody knows who told them to stop. Nobody knows who gave the stand down order. How? How is that possible? How does this guy not know who his own commander is?
I know that we have
CMIC.
Yeah.
Is it Bob Day or?
No, so the chief doesn't necessarily run every single one of these. He will have like a commander, a captain, or somebody in a position that will do that.
So he knows who it isn't. And exactly, Mel. That's why they had to go and get other people from outside because they don't know who's corrupt in Portland. They had to call Abbott, and Abbott sent them up there. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity. He doesn't even know who his commander is. He's getting orders and doesn't know where they're coming from, but he's following them blindly. We've seen where this road goes, and it's not a good place. And there's no fork. It goes one place, and that's evil. No police officer should be doing stuff like this. With Nick Sorter, they arrest him. Why? I don't know. They didn't even ask why. They just said, oh, really? Oh, okay. We'll arrest him. This guy has no idea who's making these orders to allow protesters to be in the streets to control traffic. The protesters, Antifa, provided traffic patrol. And he's like, oh, this is good.
And then relay the information to him because he doesn't need to be doing all of that stuff. He's doing other things, other managing.
Oh, he's busy. Yeah, he's busy. What's more important right now than rioting in all of Portland streets? What's more important for the captain?
So does the CMIC answer to Bob Day then?
Yes, everyone at the end of the day will answer to him because he's the chief of police.
Okay.
At the end of the day, he's the one that needs to rubber stamp everything. But again, just like any organization, both governmental and non-governmental, the CEO, right, in that sense, isn't making every day-to-day thing. They have an overarching thing, and they're making sure that the people that are under them have the ability to make decisions on their own without having to check anything because they believe that they're making the right decision.
How about when there's another federal agency and they're being attacked to the point where they have to shoot rubber bullets at the attackers? Captain still doesn't know. The chief still doesn't know what's going on. He's still too busy. What he's saying makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, so does Bob Day answer to the mayor?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So ultimately the mayor is at the top of the hierarchy as far as all decisions here.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Because the mayor is like the head of the city.
So if the mayor said you need to not let people be in the street at all, you guys would carry that out and make
We would
arrests?
figure out the most equitable way to carry out that.
I see. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we tried to do like a women's rights free speech event in Portland a couple of years ago, and we were told by city leadership that we would have to purchase it was like thousands of dollars in permits and like insurance and all this stuff. And so, does Antifa have a permit or insurance?
So I wouldn't say these people are Antifa. I don't know. They haven't told us who they are. Right?
Come on.
So they didn't tell us they're Antifa. It's so obvious who it is. He does. He feels like just some schmo. wearing a uniform. Definitely stolen valor. So what she was talking about was I was saying, you got to be licensed. You have to get permits and insurance. So that prevents people from doing stuff like they do. Do they have them? They're not really Antifa. They didn't tell me they're Antifa. Okay. So the skinheads got to tell you they're skinheads? When do they tell you? Before or after they hang somebody up?
I know.
I'm related to Bin Laden and Pol Pot. The government called me Timothy McVeigh, and I've been to North Korea.
I would say that
And our
the people
federal
that are
government
here.
is evil, and our local government is incompetent. This motherfucker could not get a car out of traffic, and he's too big of a bitch to do anything but like function right now. They're incompetent. All we have is our.
Can you make arrests for disorderly conduct?
Yeah, and so we have in the past,
Fuck
right?
the police.
But we're not necessarily going to do that all the time. We want to be sparing on when we're
You
enacting
only
certain
go
things.
after the jaywalkers,
And so-
right? Because they detained the jaywalkers.
You only go after a dad
for
bod.
nothing
He's
else
15
but
years younger than me.
jaywalking. Nothing
I
else
didn't
but
get a fucking
jaywalking.
dad bod until I was fucking 40.
So you've just changed my mind on this completely. I mean,
They talk to the police any way they want, which is fine. I mean, that's freedom of speech. But these cops, they look scared, and they look like they're part of all this. You'll see. Keep watching.
so I went into this thinking, well, the problem is these groups, Antifa and others, whatever Antifa is, no one's even really ever defined it that I can tell. But these groups of radicals angry about something, committing violence against people. But it sounds like the DOJ needs to come in and take control of the Portland Police Department on civil rights grounds. I know they're very busy policing anti-Semitism on Ivy League campuses. It's kind of a critical problem in America. But if a police department is indistinguishable from Antifa, that might even be a bigger problem. And maybe they should take it over tomorrow. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and that's something that I should probably, I'd like to talk to Attorney General Pam Bondi about. She's been very responsive to this entire situation. She put Harmeet Dillon on it. They've launched an investigation into the practices of the Portland Police Department. And Tucker, we actually put in this demand for discovery after my arrest. And we were demanding all communications between Rose City Antifa, which is an organized group, that is an entity that exists, and the Portland Police Department. And literally within an hour of us doing that, my attorney got an angry call from the DA's office, and then eventually said, "Okay, well, you know what? We're not going to move forward with this case." They were clearly bothered by the fact that we were demanding discovery relating to the discussions between Rose City Antifa and the Portland Police Department. So there's something there. There's something there. If we didn't make that demand, I don't think they would have dropped this case.
It's pretty insane if you think about what he just said. So he's about to go on trial, and they demand all communication between the police department and Antifa. And they said, you know what? We're dropping the case. And they were mad. How dare you? They're well defined, and the description is that there is no real definition. They're more defined by what they aren't. And yes, they are violent, anti-capitalist, privileged college students, yes, but they also call them decentralized so that you can't pin them down anywhere. There's no real leadership, so you can't do that. It's still, if you really think about the language, it's vague, and it just tells you what they aren't. And that's why it's so hard to pin anything to them. And now he just had an opportunity to do it, and what did the police do? The DA says, we'll drop the charges against you for getting beat up in Portland. Listen to Antifa talking to these police. This is Portland. And tell me there's not something wrong here. Listen how they talk to the police, first of all. When he said earlier that, that they don't have an opinion on police, I disagree. They hate police. But they're using them right now, so they're useful idiots. And then they're okay with what they're doing, apparently. That's what it seems like.
If I would have just gone past, I wouldn't have said anything, but when my attention gets called from, then I'll say, hey, here's what else we do.
Trauma's a motherfucker,
You're
man.
such a victim.
It's because our shit keeps getting swept. Our medical gear keeps getting swept. Illegally.
By me? By who? Was I out here all day, or no?
Well, then don't act like you know what you're talking about.
That's why I just asked who did it. I don't know.
Where's my PPV? Oh, this guy over here, right there on the bike. That's her mother, and she's very, very, very upset. Please come over here. How in the world is that not more present?
Shocker that you don't give a fuck about pedophiles because there's so many of you.
Okay, so give me a second. Well, look, I wanted to be done with this, but all I'm getting is just flash. So you know what? Now I think we have to do something because I just wanted to go about.
Are you here to keep people safe because there's a child predator?
I know, we're going to go over there together.
Yeah.
I can deal with one thing at a time.
I'm sorry, but if you're gonna wait right here, there's literally a mother crying about a man assaulting her child.
What are we waiting on? Do you not hear me on the microphone? What are we waiting on?
But then if I jump him, I'm in the wrong, right? If you do your job and I jump him, I'm in the wrong.
You fucking asshole! Tell the people to be quiet! Fuck you! You can't suppress anybody's free speech! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Just for a little bit. I'm obviously.
Fuck you! Asking people to fucking limit their free speech! Fuck you! Make your line! Back everyone up if you want!
That's an incredible.
Just think about what you just saw. And think about if that was in your neighborhood, how that would end. Why are they allowed to do anything they want? And why is the cop talking to them like that? Like he's, hey man, you guys gonna cut me some slack? Like what's going on here? I'm trying to work with you guys here. Work with me. What kind of police force is that? It's so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable.
Story. It's not the story I expected to hear from you at all. That's an amazing story. And it's a horrifying story because where does it leave the citizens of Portland? I mean, if the police department is Antifa,
Scared.
then where do you go?
Yeah, I spoke with a resident. There's an apartment building that is directly it's adjacent to the ICE facility, and these residents are terrified to speak publicly. I finally got one to speak to me on camera. I haven't released it yet, but he wanted his face blurred because they're terrified of what happens when they walk out of their apartment building, when they're complaining about what's going on in the street and the lack of action on the part of police officers and the city of Portland. The city of Portland, there is a noise ordinance in the city of Portland. You know, people have the right to the quiet enjoyment of their home, right? And the Portland police and the city have selectively decided they're not going to enforce it there, to the detriment of the multiple veterans that live there with PTSD that are hearing them, the Antifa folks in the street shooting off fireworks in the middle of the night, scaring the crap out of them. They're talking about children in elevators that are crying because it's like a war zone out in front of their house every single day. And the police are just letting it happen. For what reason? I don't know. Is it political? Is it because they're totally infiltrated by these leftists? I mean, there's a lot of reasons that it could be, but it's something that we need to find out because this is not a victimless situation here. The victims are the people of Portland that are just trying to live their lives and go about their daily business without fear of being, beaten in the street for complaining that people want to scream in front of their house at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's how bad it is.
And it's not just Portland. It's not. It's Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Illinois, New York, DC. All these places have the exact same type of thing going on. So they need to look into the chiefs of police and get their communication and see why are they so lenient on this group? Are they scared? Like what is going on here? Are they being threatened? Are they being extorted? Something's going on where all across the country, in all these Democrat cities, everyone's having to stand down, but nobody knows who's giving that order. We have to find out what's going on here. This is not a free country when the police are compromised. And if the police are cooperating with crime over citizens who are doing nothing wrong, you have to do this. You have to do something. You have to do this. You have to investigate.
I think a lot of Americans are under the impression that nothing has changed in the last 40 years, and the law enforcement and intelligence agencies are fundamentally pro-American and committed to the rule of law. That would include the U.S. military, CIA, NSA, and police departments and National Guard units. You think they're sort of on your side. And I think you're hitting at something that most people don't understand, which is a lot of these organizations, these institutions have been completely taken over by people who sympathize with Antifa. And I would include the U.S. military in that. Many members of the U.S. military cheered the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Many online.
Yes, they did.
And that seems like a problem that seems like the problem. Because if things go south, the people with the guns have to be loyal to the Constitution. They can't be loyal to Antifa, right?
Right, and I mean you're absolutely spot on there. It's chilling the amount. Those are just the people that we have weirdly enough have the balls to say that stuff publicly, like condoning the assassination of Charlie Kirk and stuff. I mean, it's terrifying to think how many of these people are in the background working for these police agencies. Actually, we were able to get a Secret Service agent fired, one that works on protective details, fired for saying that Charlie Kirk had it coming. He said that publicly on Facebook. That's somebody that works.
A Secret Service agent said that Charlie Kirk had it coming. And these are the people who are protecting our public officials, from Donald Trump all the way down to the alderman. How is that possible? How? It's unbelievable.
A protective detail that should terrify everybody, because then it leads back to think, okay, well, did people within the Secret Service just let what happened to Trump and Butler? Did they just let that slide? You know, we know these people exist. We know they're on these protective details. We know that they've infiltrated the military. That's terrifying, and we really need systematic reviews of all of this stuff. And I know down there in Portland, I'm actually here in DC anyway. Here in DC, I will be meeting tomorrow with Harmeet Dillon and the Department of Justice, and they'll be doing a full interview from start to finish from what happened and what their next steps are going to be. I spoke with President Trump about it today personally. They are not going to let this go. They want to expose all of the rot within this police department out there, because ideally that model will be able to spread to other police agencies across the country. Like what they find in Portland may help them in Chicago, for example. So a can of worms has been opened here. The police chief out there in Oregon or in Portland has been on TV every day slandering me, saying that it is provocative to film in public with a light on your camera, even though it's dark and so you need a light. I mean, any reasonable human being can figure that part out. But they're terrified. They know that we're not letting this go. And now they got the DOJ on their backs. I'm just hoping that the political pressure keeps up and people don't just forget about the story.
Yeah,
they have to investigate. Especially in Chicago, they need to figure out exactly who gave that order. Trent, no, she announced before she went away. She announced she was going to be gone for a week or two, so they didn't get her. At least not as far as I know. But she announced it on her last live stream that she did. She said that would be her last live stream for. I don't know if she gave a specific time, but yeah, she's good. We good.
I hope not. I know that Harmeet Dillon, who I know very well, my former lawyer, is a really serious and smart person and a very tough person.
Awesome.
So I have full confidence in her. But I hope that we don't devolve into like an endless conversation about Antifa and some angry 19-year-old. Yeah, I'm against all that. But cops with guns and handcuffs and the power to arrest citizens, if they're corrupt, boy, there's nothing scarier than that. U.S. military officers, many of whom are like lunatics, like left-wing lunatics. And of course, the foreign policy establishment doesn't care because all they want is another profitable war, or they want to extend their wars in, Ukraine, et cetera. They want a war with Iran. So they don't really care about whether the people who run the U.S. military are loyal to the Constitution of the United States. They don't care at all because they're not loyal to the United States. So, but we should care. Right. And I just really hope when you're up there, you'll encourage a forensic look at law enforcement, number one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you brought up a really good point that needs to be talked about more, where if there is a way, and I'll definitely ask about this, if there is a way to put more federal power within the Portland Police Department, I don't think it's able to be saved as is. I think it would need to be totally just turned on its head, or maybe scrapped and started over. That would be, I feel like that might be the only way to save it, unless you can take federal control over that stuff. I think that was a really good point that you made, and I'll definitely ask about that. Look, I mean, this is just what we've seen in one city so far. How many more of these cities are having the same issues that we're not talking about? I know Chicago's a hot topic and stuff right now, but I'm sure, is this stuff happening in Seattle? Like, how many other cities are you having this same issue with corrupt political hacks that have arrest powers? I mean, that's very concerning. It should concern everybody.
The fuck back.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's what I thought.
I'm just checking it out. I'm on a public sidewalk. Close the window if you don't want to see in. There you go.
You're so fucking closeted, Terry. You're ugly. You're a fag. You look stupid.
You're you got,
man. This is live.
So they found an Antifa safe house 1 block away from the riots over by the ICE facility. This is Portland.
Going into the Antifa safe house. Yup.
Why the fuck you stalking women?
And that's the girl who said she's on that list also. So she's doing the same thing. She's calling them out. It's I wouldn't recommend any of my daughters do this. What she's doing is dangerous, but at the same time, it's heroic. It's heroic. Somebody has to do this. Somebody has to expose this kind of stuff. So she was attacked, and she chased the lady back to their safe house. And of course, it's a safe house, so they get to stay there, and the police don't do anything about it.
Fucking minors and shit. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Why are you stalking this person?
She assaulted me.
She assaulted you? Do you approve of that?
Yeah, my black eye.
Your black eye? You didn't just.
You don't
like,
have a black eye.
I don't see it. Get hit by your boyfriend or something?
All right, the assault suspect is in the safe house.
Assault suspect? Are you stop now? Are you able to designate someone?
The assault suspect is in the safe.
Pretty unbelievable. So here, Portland police aren't just shielding Antifa, they're actively working against DHS agents. Caught them multiple times taking videos from leftist protesters to launch investigations into Homeland Security agents who used pepper spray on the rioters. Pull federal funds from Portland. This is incredible because it's on video. Look at this. Unbelievable.
I got a reputation down here. I got respect. I interview everybody down here. I interview police, everybody down here about why they down here, what they down here for. My name is Tennessee. I have an Instagram. My Instagram is Gw.stgdesigns.
Thank you, man.
Look at him. And this is the same cop earlier who was explaining why Antifa was allowed to be traffic patrol and block the streets off. He's getting videos so that they can launch investigations on federal agents who use pepper spray because people are impeding their ability to do their job, which is illegal. So what is he doing? He's recording it so he can give to the commander that he doesn't know who it is. Such a joke.
There's one block north of Lowell.
So here, again, there's video for this. They provided cover to Antifa terrorists at ICE Portland who were beaming spotlights at DHS agents. Again, that's illegal. And shielded them. The police shielded them from Homeland Security. And then it says that Homeland Security agent then came out and confronted police. You're going to see that right now. It's unbelievable.
Nice aim. I love that. Whoa.
They're shining something in the. They're hiding behind the sign. And they're running for cover behind Portland police. Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me.
You got a wild shoot everybody else to shoot one person. The bullets you got, come on.
We should be allowed to hear what the fuck they're talking about.
So this guy right here, you could see the earpiece. He's Homeland Security, and he's confronting the police, saying, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?"
Anything, so we're standing there, we don't know what's going on. So it's just like she's literally running behind you guys.
We don't know why she's running.
So he said, "She's literally right behind you guys," and the guy says, "Well, we don't know why she's right behind us. Didn't ask." These are the worst police I've ever seen. This is unbelievable.
Nice. Nice aim. I love that. Whoa. That AR is really nice.
Well, they were trying to shoot a guy that was running away.
It was like,
That's what happens at night, every night in Portland. This is, I'm laughing, but it's at the absurdity. This is a really, really, really dangerous movement that's happening right now. Antifa are really dangerous. I'm gonna put out a short. I may make a video out of it, but they're coming after you, and they were. Should I go into it? Put it this way: if you homeschool your children, you're now looked at as a threat to your child. I'm gonna do a video. I'll probably do a video on it. I may make a live out of it because it's so absurd. But they're saying that we need to worry about kids that are homeschooled. They're not checking in. I don't know who with who, but it. You are the bad guy. These people are the good guys. They're fighting fascists. It says it right there in their name. Now, they act like fascists, but they say they're anti-fascists. So we gotta take them for their word, right? That's all I got for today. There needs to be investigations, not just into Antifa, but into any communication like they were going to try to find out in Portland. And they had no right to discovery because they dropped the case. But they need to be investigated. It's unbelievable. Oh, yeah, Mel said that it's always been like that. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, something happened to a young girl, and now they're blaming it on homeschooling, not on the mother for whatever happened to the young girl. So they're saying, well, we got to get on this. We have to. But they're going to find it. I don't know if you're in here. There's a group, the GAI, who are looking into it. They already have a lot of names that they can investigate. And in that meeting, Trump said, hey, can you get those names to Cash? Pam Bondi. I'm not a big Bondi fan. My jury's still out on her, but I think they're going to look into these people and hopefully unveil some craziness that they can put a stop to. Because these people shouldn't be getting funded with $100 million of taxpayer money, Mel. I don't know if you were in here for that. But that's how much they are saying Antifa is getting. And these NGOs are getting. So, Trent Verified, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming. Lou, thank you. Mel Dub, as always, appreciate you. Just Jay, thank you. Not Worth It, appreciate you for stopping by. Dan Tana, as always, thank you, sir. G Will, thank you very much. Yeah, you might want to go back and look at that one, G Will. He put up the eyes. $100 million of taxpayer dollars is known to have gone into Antifa. Pretty interesting. What's interesting, I want to know what money she used to bail them out, Mel, because she's still in the hole. Democrats don't want to pay for her $1.5 billion that she's still in the hole with. Vibe in my lane, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Who else was in here? Who else? Miss Beautiful One, as always, thank you so much. Stream sponsor, Miss Beautiful One. Miss Baker, thank you as always. True Essence was in here. Thank you, young lady. I believe that's everybody. I appreciate you all. I'm not going to get that away. I'm going to do a live, and it's going to be a good one. Maybe Friday. Hopefully Friday. Anyway, that's all I got. I appreciate you all again. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share, show people what Antifa is. They're getting money from NGOs. They're getting your money, taxpayer dollars. So if you pay taxes, you should be angry about this. But more than that, you should be trying to figure out why people in the black neighborhoods are out protesting for illegal aliens to take over their neighborhoods, take their jobs, take their kids' education, take away healthcare, take away benefits. What are we doing? It's not our fight. Stay out of this. Let these crazy, color-haired, mask-wearing weirdos do that. Let them get arrested, even though the police are letting them out. But they're not going to let you out like they let them out. I'm Mo Speaks. If you're new here, like, subscribe, share. I appreciate you all again. Thank you.